Impact Wrestling fans, I am here with the Impact Wrestling review and results. I'm about to hop right on into that. It was a really good Impact. We were in Mexico, first show from Mexico. I enjoyed it, so I'm about to hop right on into it. Feel free to hit that subscribe button if you like Impact Wrestling reviews every week. Hit that subscribe button. So, let's hop right on into this. First up, we had Rich Swann versus Hijo del Vikingo, and this was a really good match. I enjoyed it. There was some nice back and forth reversals to start the match, and they matched each other reversal for reversal and got the crowd right into it from the start. I thought that they made Vikingo look really good in this match. He had a sweet dive over the top rope and to the floor, and I thought that this was a phenomenal match. Rich Swann had a nice standing Hurricane Rana. That's the way Scott Steiner used to do it. Standing Hurricane Rana in this match, and even Vikingo pulled out a black hole slam in this match. I enjoyed this match very, very much. It was a classic X Division match, fast-paced, high tempo, and Rich Swann would go on to pick up the win with the 450. I enjoyed it. Like I said, I enjoyed it. He had many cross-promotion matches, a couple of cross-promotion matches, tonight that they done a phenomenal job with, and this was one of them. Very good, and I gotta say, well done. Well done to kick up the show. As I always say, you cannot go wrong kicking off the show with the X Division. Always gonna be either a banger or a really good match. So after that, we had OVE come down to ringside, and Callahan was back at it again. Talked about how Rich Swann needed to join OVE. He even talked about their past history and how Rich Swann knew about their past history. He even went as far as to say that they were brothers. So this storyline is getting very interesting, and I gotta say that we moved on throughout the promo. He talked about Rich Swann's family really got under his skin. Talked about how if it wasn't for Sami Callihan, Rich Swann would be dead in Baltimore. So this storyline, and I'm gonna get into that, but at the end of all this, Sami Callihan offers him the shirt. Rich Swann kind of turns him down without saying no, and Sami Callihan grabs the mic and says he didn't say no. So Sami Callihan is going to be at it again. So I got to say that this week really got me invested into this storyline. Like, okay, I'm interested now. They said Sami Callihan said they were like brothers. Let's see where this goes. I'm very interested. We'll see how it all works out. So after this, we got Killer Kross and Moose backstage. Killer Kross was hyping up the match with Johnny Impact. Said that he was gonna take him out. Said that he was stronger while Johnny Impact was weaker. And even Moose got in. Talked about Brian Cage. Talked about how his sources said that Brian Cage was caught up in customs. And Killer Kross told Johnny Impact to invest into a neck brace. So after this, and they hyped up the Killer Kross Johnny Impact match really well, I should say. So after the break, we had Kiera Hogan and Jordan Grace talking about their rematch with Allie and Su Yung. And before they could even get going, we had a blackout. And of course, went gray. And of course, it was Rosemary with a message. She said that this wasn't their fight. So we'll see how it all plays out from here with Rosemary, with Jordan Grace, with Kiera Hogan. We shall see either in the coming weeks. So Taya Valkyrie versus Kyra was next up. And I gotta say that, man, Kyra got in more offense than I thought she would. But I'm gonna get into that. She hit Taya Valkyrie with a hellacious kick in the corner Taya Valkyrie was seated in the corner and she took a boot to the face. My goodness. Now, normally, I don't like when the champion takes a lot of offense from the person that's not in the promotion, but this worked out pretty well. And given the fact that Kyra, got in a lot of offense, it turned into a pretty good match. And I was very much entertained by this match. Taya Valkyrie would go on to pick up the victory with her submission. I gotta say about her submission, I'm not all that into the submission. It's like a modified STF. And I'm not all that into it. I don't really like it that much, but I will say this. I always appreciate when a wrestler adds something into their arsenal. And that is what Taya Valkyrie did here. She's added a submission into her arsenal. And I gotta say, I really appreciate that. She's went on to use that submission as her finisher. And I very much appreciate it. So Taya Valkyrie picks up the victory here. She would grab the mic, talk to the Mexican crowd. She also talked about how Johnny Impact would get his revenge later on in the show. And also, she discussed Tessa Blanchard, talking about her suspension and how she would be ready when Tessa Blanchard came back. So, that was well done. That match was well done. And we got back to Rich Swann. After the break, Rich Swann was backstage with Melissa Santos. Great signing by Impact, Melissa Santos. But he was talking about Sami Callihan and talking about their relationship. And he said it was all true. And he said there was a whole lot more to the story. So keep weaving that web. And I'm very interested into this storyline. I want to see where it goes. Like I said, I'm very invested. So after that, we got the Rascals in the Vignette, that 70s show Vignette. And I gotta say that, man, Zachary Wentz is just stealing the show, man. Like, at this point, they're all doing well in that 70s show skits, but Zachary Wentz is just stealing the show. And like I said last week, he is just an EC3 double. The guy looks just like EC3, for goodness sakes. And I enjoyed this one. I even enjoyed Zachary Wentz with the subtitles, and it was all well done. Like that 70s show skits can be hit or miss at times. This one was a hit that I enjoyed. So after that, we got a vignette of Scarlett Bordeaux. And like, she was not in workout gear. She was in some kind of gear. Wasn't workout gear, but she was getting ready for her in-ring debut. They said it would be in 3 weeks. And the thing is, like, I've always heard that Scarlett Bordeaux could go in the ring. Like, legitimately, she can go in the ring. So there's something there with Scarlett Bordeaux, and something that I'm very interested in and invested into to see how they implement her into the Knockouts division. So the Knockouts division is just stacked, man. Just from top to bottom, just stacked with talent, with talented ladies. So I'm very interested into Scarlett Bordeaux's debut, and I'm very interested to see how it goes. So after that, we had the Rascals, Zachary Wentz, Desmond Xavier versus the Desi Hit Squad. I gotta say, the Desi Hit Squad, for as long as you've been watching me do reviews for Impact Wrestling, like I've always been saying, Desi Hit Squad just does not do it for me for whatever reason. Like, I thought the next step was to beat down Gama Singh, but apparently that is not the next step. But what we got here was a pretty good match. I love the corkscrew crossbody from Zachary Wentz. We even got a spot in this match where the Rascals went Hardy Boys. We had Zachary Wentz jump off of Desmond Xavier's back for a dive over the top rope to the floor on the Desi Hit Squad. This was a decent enough match. The Desi Hit Squad, I'm not really invested into their offense either. Like, they really need a jolt. They really need something in their storyline to really for me to get invested into it. I don't know if that's just me or if that's everybody's opinion on the Desi Hit Squad. It can vary from person to person. It's very subjective, but I'm just not really invested into them. As for the result of the match, I love the finishing maneuver from the Rascals. They really need a name for that. The pushing moonsault, that's all I can come up with right now. I'll have a nickname for it later. We'll see what it is. But they would pick up the victory over the Desi Hit Squad. And the Rascals are must-see television every single week. And they put on good to great matches every time they're out there. So next up, after that, we had Johnny Impact backstage with an interview with Melissa Santos. He talked about Killer Cross and said that seeing Taya back reminded him of how tough she is and that he wanted revenge on Killer Cross. Talked about how he was a piece of trash, and he said that he was glad that Moose was going to be at ringside. He didn't want him backstage waiting to get his shot on Johnny Impact. So after that, we came from commercial break. We had LAX backstage with Conan. Ortiz was in trouble with Conan for what he said last week, and Conan talked about how he didn't want it to be bad blood between LAX and the Lucha Brothers. He also talked about 2 new wrestlers that would be on Impact next week, and apparently both of those wrestlers are going to be on the Lucha Brothers side and LAX side. We're going to have ourselves a trios match next week. LAX with those 2 new guys and the Lucha Brothers, and main event caliber, and I cannot wait. Man, yes indeed. LAX versus the Lucha Brothers again, this time in a trios match. I cannot wait. It's going down. That match was just, y'all know that match was just bananas. I'm gonna stick to the program here and stick with the show here. Next up, we had Ethan Page versus Trey. I gotta say about Ethan Page, I finally figured out what it is that's not connecting with me when it comes to Ethan Page. Ethan Page is very nimble, but his style is not that of an X Division wrestler. You know, the X Division is all about high pace, high tempo. Ethan Page is not really a high pace, high tempo wrestler, so he doesn't fit all that well in the X Division, in my opinion. But he fits well enough because he's very nimble. He can fly around, like he can pull off high paced moves, but he's just not a high paced wrestler or a high tempo wrestler. And his matches can be not slow, but not as high paced as we're used to in the X Division. This was a decent enough match. I love Trey's 619. It's a modified 619, and his finishing maneuver, basically the crossroads, but he calls it the fresh to death. I enjoyed that. And the Fresh Prince of Mid-Air would pick up that nickname is just stuff of genius right there. But the Fresh to Death would pick up the victory for Trey Miguel, and the Rascals are just phenomenal in their matches, and I just cannot wait to see what's next for those guys. So after that, we got Eli Drake. They ran a recap of Eli Drake calling out Eddie Edwards last week. Had a brain freeze right there. Said that, calling them a loser. And after that, we had Eli Drake rolling up on Eddie Edwards backstage. Told him that he wanted the old Eddie Edwards back again. Told him to leave the kendo stick backstage next week. Talked about as they get ready for their World Cup matches next week. So we'll see how that all works out going forward. Last up was the main event, Johnny Impact versus Killer Cross. Killer Cross is dominating early. And I gotta say, in this match, it was well done. Johnny Impact hit a sweet springboard spear in this match. I don't think I've ever seen that one before. I don't even think I've seen that one from Johnny Impact before. So a sweet move right there. I also love the tornado DDT that Johnny Impact tried to pull off, but it was countered into a Northern Lights from Killer Cross. This was a well done match. They did not get into a finish for the match because Brian Cage came out wrecking shop on everybody. I hit an F5 on Moose. I took out Killer Cross and took out Johnny Impact as well. We had ourselves a brawl from there. All four guys going at it. And at the end of the day, Johnny Impact and Johnny Impact and Brian Cage were left standing. And that is how we would fade to black. We had ourselves a nice brawl. And Johnny Impact was taunting Moose with the title. So, from where I'm from and from my wrestling fan intuition, the only way that this could go is either a tag match with all four guys, or we may be heading for a triple threat match. Johnny Impact versus Killer Cross versus Brian Cage for the Impact Heavyweight title, because Killer Cross is due a rematch for Brian Cage interfering. I would say if that's for my guess, that's where my guess would be as to where they would head next. A triple threat match for the title. We'll see. I'm very much invested into Brian Cage. The crowd loves the guy. He was cheated out of his title shot. So both guys, Killer Cross and Brian Cage, has a right to a title shot. So it's looking like it will be a triple threat match. So let me know your thoughts, whether that's in the YouTube comments or on Twitter at @OMGCoreyB or at 2SweetPod. Your thoughts on Impact Wrestling, Johnny Impact, Killer Cross, and Brian Cage. Let me know your thoughts on that, or anything on Impact Wrestling in general. Let me know. I will respond.